All right, friends, as some of you have noticed, I am not my regular self today. I have a horrid headache, and some of you also might be thinking, hey, there's an IU women's game, I think, IU women's game, men's game, an IU men's game today. And some of you are probably like, how long is Jessica going to keep us here? Because it's already 11:15. And I heard that we're going to take up the Love Fund as well. So Harold Fiskus, who you know likes to talk. I'm totally messing with you, Harold. But we want to hear about the Love Fund as well. And my brain, it's not working today. I cannot think well when I have a headache. So I know you all want me to expound on what it means to love your enemies, because that's what you came here today for. In this time, in this place where you are feeling beaten down, maybe actually that's what my body is feeling. Maybe I am feeling beaten down and just brushing it off and saying, oh, it's because I was sick this week. And then I did too much on Friday and Saturday when I was feeling better because I had to be on for those days. Maybe my body's trying to tell me something. Maybe my body is feeling what so many of us are feeling. Feeling that there are enemies that are all around us. Enemies being those who are hurting us, who are causing harm to those whom we love and those whom we are committed to loving. And then Jesus gives us love your enemies. So maybe you're like, really glad I'm not going to talk too much today, because then you can just brush that aside and be like, oh, that's just something Jesus said a couple thousand years ago, and we don't really have to deal with it yet. But I encourage you and I invite you to listen to those words, to take to heart those words that Lisa shared. To listen for, to attend to what the Spirit is seeking to say to you today. That whole slapping the cheek and turning the other, the whole somebody takes your coat, so give them your shirt too. I don't have the brain capacity to think about that today. And you might not have the brain capacity to think about that today either, but that's exactly what Jesus is getting at. He wants us to think. He wanted that audience. I believe this wholly and fully with everything that I am. You can't erase that no matter how bad my headache is, that Jesus wants us to think. Are we indeed supposed to turn that other cheek and let people keep hurting us and harming us? That doesn't make sense. But what are we supposed to do? Are we not to retaliate? Are we not to strike back immediately? Are we to take off the shirt that was the second garment we had and end up naked? Is that what Jesus is asking this audience to do? That doesn't make sense. It's possible. But I think Jesus is doing something else here. He's inviting his audience. He's inviting his disciples. That's who is gathered here. His followers, those who are around him and seeking to follow in the way of God, in the way of love, in the way of justice, to think about how they respond when they are being oppressed, when they are being beaten down, when they are being hurt and harmed, and those whom they love are being demeaned and degraded. How do you respond? If not with retaliation? Is there another way? And Jesus gives us that way, and it's not a quick fix pill. I've been waiting for the pills I took this morning to kick in, and they're not kicking in. What I need, what y'all know I need, is sleep, is rest, is good food, is probably to stop talking and being in this functioning role, To love your enemies is not a quick fix. It takes time. It takes effort. It takes energy. And it is long-haul work. And you need to be taking care of yourself on that way. And I'll remind you, and then I'm going to sit down, that loving someone doesn't mean that you're accepting all of the hurt and the harm that they did to you and saying that that's okay. That is not what it means to love. That is not what it means to love those who are hurting and harming you. What love is respecting another's dignity and worth, seeing, acknowledging, perceiving, and honoring the worth that is in those, even those who hurt and harm us. And that's hard, and it doesn't change things immediately. But I believe and I trust and I stand with those in our history. I stand with those today who dare to believe that love and respect, seeing that, honoring that in the other, the complexity of us. I have messed up stuff within myself, right? I'm more than the harm that I cause. Sometimes you might be thinking it must be at a minuscule level, but if you take Genesis and that whole, like, we are created in the image and the likeness of God, there is beauty within each and every one of us. How do we acknowledge that? That doesn't mean you don't affirm that in yourself. Yes, here. Yes, amongst your friends and your families and your cohorts and your colleagues and those groups that you are building to support one another to do good work, and in those who are causing hurt and harm, in those who are demeaning and destroying. That's the hard work, and it doesn't, like I said, it doesn't work like that. But that's the work that Jesus is calling his disciples to, and I believe that's the work we're called to. And I'm going to stop because I don't have anything else. I gave it all to the kids. It happens at home. I give all my energy to Jabal, and I got nothing left for Martin. He can tell you. That's the case today. I gave it to the kids, and I gave you what I had, and I'm sorry if it wasn't enough. I'm sorry if you needed more. I don't have anything more to give today. But the divine is with each and every one of you. And God has more to give. And you have abilities within yourself to continue listening and experiencing that call, that invitation to think, to dig deep, and to live and to act. So friends, let's take a brief moment to do a little bit of that listening, to start that process.